Hello everyone. In today's Jurassic profile we're going to be doing is the most famous dinosaur in the Jurassic, and that is Allosaurus. Is an extinct genus of large carnosaurine theropod dinosaur that lived 155 to 145 million years ago during the late Jurassic. The first fossil remains that could definitely be ascribed to this genus were described in 1877 by famed paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh as one of the first well-known theropod dinosaurs. It has long attracted attention outside of paleontological circles. Now, recent works in the 1980s to the present, the period since medicine monograph has been marked by a great expansion in studies dealing with topics concerning Allosaurus in life, paleobiological and paleoecological topics. Such studies have covered topics including skeletal variation, growth, skull construction, hunting methods, the brain, and etc. Reanalysis of old material, partially large allosaur specimens, new discoveries in Portugal, and several very complete new specimens have also contributed to the growing knowledge base. In 1991, a discovery of a Allosaurus that was named MOR 693, but it was called Big Al. It was a 95% complete, partially articulated specimen of Allosaurus was discovered, measuring about 8 meters, 26 feet long. Big Al was excavated near Shell, Wyoming by a joint Museum of the Rockies and University of Wyoming Geological Museum team. This skeleton was discovered by Swiss team. In 2020, identified the individual as a representative of a species named Allosaurus jinsemi. In 1996, the same team discovered a second Allosaurus called Big Al 2. This specimen is best preserved skeleton of its kind to date. It is also referred to Allosaurus jinsemi. The completeness, preservation, and scientific importance of the skeleton gave Big Al its name. The individual itself was below average size for Allosaurus fragilis, as it was a subadult, estimated at only 87% grown. The specimen was described by Breithoff in 1996. 19 of its bones were broken or showed signs of serious infections, which may have contributed to Big Al's death. Pathologic bones includes 5 ribs, 5 vertebrae, and 4 bones on the feet. Several of its damaged bones showed a sign of osteomyelitis, a severe bone infection, a peculiar problem for a living animal with infections and trauma to the right foot that probably affected movement and may have also predisposed the other foot to injury because of its change in gait. Big Al had an infection on the first phalanx on the third toe that had affiliated by an evocarum. The infection was long lived, perhaps to 6 months. Big Al 2 also known to have multiple Big Al 2 has also had known multiple injuries. There were 6 Allosaurus species that have been named, like A. ampullus, A. atrox, A. europaeus, A. fragilis, A. jitsami, and A. lucasi. In 2020, only recognized the species Allosaurus fragilis, europaeus, and the newly named Allosaurus jitsami as being a valid species. However, A. europaeus does not show any unique characters compared to the North American species. But the other species are now synonymized or in a dubious genus. But there is one possible or unlikely species in Africa, and that is Allosaurus tentaguensis was named in 1925 by Winnier Jinshosh for the partial shin MBR 3620 found in the Cameroonian Age in Tendaguru Formation in Tanzania. Although telebated as a tentatively valid genus of Allosaurus in the second edition of the Dinosauria. A subsequent studies place it intermediate by beyond Tetanera, either a Carcharodontosaurine or Megalosaurid. Although obscure, it was large theropod, possibly around 10 meters, 33 feet long, and 2.5 tons, 2.5 long tons, 2.8 short tons in weight. Whether it's Allosaurus, a Carcharodontosaur, or Megalosaur, we don't know for sure, because it's only found with a leg of a bone shin. In size comparison with 3 species to a human, Allosaurus fragilis is the best known species, had an average length of 8.5 meters, 28 feet, and mass of 1.7 metric tons, 1.9 short tons, with the largest definite Allosaurus specimen, AMNH 680, estimated at 9.7 meters, 32 feet long, with an estimated weight of 2.3 to 2.7 metric tons, 2.5 to 3.0 short tons. In his 1976 monograph of Allosaurus, James H. Madison mentioned a range bone size which he interpreted to show a maximum length of 12 to 13 meters, 39 to 43 feet. As with dinosaurs in general, weight estimates are debatable and since 1980 have been ranged between 1.4 metric tons, 1.7 short tons to 1 to 4 metric tons, 1.1 to 4.4 short tons, and approximately 1 metric ton, 1.1 short tons for model adult weighing not a maximum. John Foster, a specialist on the Morrison Formation, suggests that 1 metric ton, 1.1 short tons, is reasonable for a large adult of A. fragilis, but that 700 kilograms is more closer estimate for individuals represented by the average sized thigh bone he has measured. And for Allosaurus jitsumi, researchers using computer modeling arrived at the best estimate of 1.5 metric tons for the individual, but by varying parameters they found range from approximately 1.4 metric tons to approximately 2 metric tons, and separate. Computational project estimated an adaptive ultimate body mass in Allosaurus to be 2,345 kilograms. As for Allosaurus eupaeus, has been measured to 7 meters, 23 feet in length, and 1 metric ton in body mass. Other aspects of feeding include the eyes, arms, and legs, the shape of the skull of Allosaurus limited potential binocular vision to 20 degrees of wide, slightly less than modern crocodilians. As with crocodilians, this may have been enough to judge prey distance and time attacks. The arms compared to those of other theropods were suited for both grasping prey at a distance or clutching it close. An articulation of the claws suggests that they could have been used to hook things. Finally, the top speed of Allosaurus had been estimated at 30 to 55 kilometers or 19 to 34 miles per hour. Allosaurus had a weak jaw that could not do a hatchet bite, which is now considered a dubious. If Allosaurus tried this, its lower jaw would break of the amount of stress and damage. Instead, they would have do rip and tear of its prey to because the prey would bleed to death in shock and blood loss. And its social behavior. Well, there are some debates whether they hunted in packs or in gangs, or as mated pairs or as siblings. There are fossils found with Allosaurus bite marks from other Allosaurus for territory or for mates. And for its paleoecology, Allosaurus was most common large theropod in a vast tract of Western American fossil-bearing rocks, known as the Morrison Formation, accounting for 70 to 75% of theropod specimens, and as such was a top tropic level of the Morrison food chain. The Morrison Formation is interpreted as a semi-arid environment with distant wet and dry season and flat floodplains. Vegetation varied from river-lining forests of conifers, tree ferns, and ferns to fern savannas with occasional trees such as Araucaria-like conifer, Brachyphyllum. And for the formation at Allosaurus, Fragilis and Jitsami lived with animals like aquatic crocodilian morphs, terrestrial lizards, turtles, salamanders, frogs, and fish. Several species of pterosaur, and numerous dinosaur species and early mammals. Dicerodonts, multituberculids, and they also live with other dinosaurs like Ceratosaurus, Torvosaurus, Camarasaurus, Brachiosaurus, Stegosaurus, and etc. There is fossil evidence that Allosaurus did hunt Stegosaurus. A Stegosaurus played with a bite mark matches with Allosaurus, and an Allosaurus had a puncture wound from a Stegosaurus's thagomizer, meaning a predator-prey relationship, which it could be difficult to hunt a healthy adult unless it's an injured, a sick, or young individual. As for Allosaurus europaeus, also lived in Portugal and lived with other animals like Cucurtontosaurids, sauropods, Torvosaurus, Stegosaurs, Ornithischians, and etc. Allosaurus coexisted with fellow large theropods like Ceratosaurus and Torvosaurus in both the United States and Portugal, to which these animals mainly avoided each other because they had different ecological niches. But when it comes to a carcass, they were either contested or last resort fight, which would result injury and death. The three appear to have had different ecological niches based on anatomy and the location fossils. Ceratosaurus and Torvosaurus may have preferred to be active around waterways and had lower, thinner bodies that would have given them an advantage in forests and underbush terrains, whereas Allosaurus was more compact, with longer legs, faster but maneuverable, and seemed to prefer dry floodplains. Ceratosaurus, better known than Torvosaurus, differed noticeably from Allosaurus in functional anatomy by having a taller, narrower skull with large, broad teeth. Allosaurus was itself a potential food item to other carnivores, as illustrated by an Allosaurus pubic foot mark by the teeth of another theropod, probably Ceratosaurus or Torvosaurus. The location of the bone in the body along the bottom margin of the torso and partially shielded by legs, and the fact that it was among the most massive in the skeleton indicates that the Allosaurus was being scavenged. A bone assembly in the Upper Jurassic in Maigay Tamor Quarry preserves an unusually high occurrence of theropod bite marks, most of which can be attributed to Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus, while others could have been made by Saurophaganax or Torvosaurus, giving the size of the serrations, while the position of the bite marks on the herbivorous dinosaurs is consistent with predators. Predation or early access of remains. Bite marks found on Allosaurus material suggest scavenging either from other theropods or from another Allosaurus. Yeah, they would even eat their own. The unusually high contraction of theropod bite marks compared to other assemblages could explain either by more complete utilization of resources during a dry season by theropods or by collecting bias in other localities. And that's it for Allosaurus. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you later, guys.